The Renault 4 was very much the competitor in the early days for the Citroën 2CV. It was very agricultural. It was a five-door estate car. It was designed to be hammered, no maintenance apart from oil occasionally. Had very, very soft ride, a very, very French car. It went on to be produced in many millions, and in fact 9 million, and the last one was made in 1993.
Renault have produced mould-breaking cars which influence style and design. Unfortunately, in their presentation of those cars, they've lacked any humour or style in the brochures. In contrast to the 2CV, the Renault 4 is presented in a very dull fashion. It isn't a car in which to have fun. It isn't a car targeted at anyone in particular. The 16, which had, of course, these spectacular changing seats, which defined, in a sense, how the internal space of a car could be used, shows none of that in the brochures. The car is shown sideways on to show its profile, but it is not shown in any way inventively or excitingly.
Renault introduced the Renault 16 range in 1965. The 16 TX came out in 1974. It had a slightly bigger engine, which was slightly lazier, and a 5-speed box. It would cruise at 70 miles an hour, giving you just over 3,000 revs out of the engine. It was consequently very, very economical. You can put a 16 TX to above 40 miles to the gallon, provided you don't drive it too hard. Basically, it was an expensive car in its day. In 1979, this one was about £3,900. So it was never designed really as a car for the masses. It was more an executive car. I bought it off an old guy in Wakefield who'd had the car from brand new. When I went to buy it, I got the feeling that I was actually getting vetted as a suitable owner. And I wandered down with long hair, leather jacket, the whole lot, and he must have thought, God, what have we got here? But talking to the guy, he was a very, very genuine guy who just wanted to make sure that the car went to a good home and was looked after. And I hope that I'm doing the job that you wanted me to do, Norman. It's extremely comfortable. It's remarkably fast for a car of its age. The TSs and the TXs would walk past 100 miles an hour. They left the competition at the end of the 60s and beginning of the 70s streets behind performance-wise. The only thing really that dates the car when you're driving is the fact that it's the last production saloon car with a column gear change, and the fact that it hasn't got intermittent wash wipe on it. Other than that, this TX has got electric windows, central locking, 5-speed gearbox, basically features that came in far, far later on most British and European cars. They're a bit like Joanna Lumley. The older they are, the more attractive they get. I think the 16 is a design classic anyway. It was so far ahead of its time when it was introduced. I mean, nowadays, the design is slightly dated, but the performance and everything else isn't. Really, I mean, it's as much a design classic as the Citroën DS. I think if you're broad-minded and look at the concept that the 16 started, the original hot hatchback, then it started the ball rolling on an awful lot of things. If it hadn't been for the 16, we wouldn't have had a Golf GTI. And it spawned an awful lot of cars. The 5s came from the 16. And every hatchback on the market really came from the Renault 16.
The Renault 5 was the first of the super minis and was very popular from the word go. By 1993, more than 3.5 million had been produced and sold. And when it retired in 1996, it had a character. It had a cheeky character. Women loved it, of course. And it was just new. It was different. It was a car which was for everyone.
In the 60s and 70s, the people that bought Renaults were either Francophiles, slightly eccentric or slightly adventurous. The cars were different to English cars. The style of build and the engineering was totally different. It was totally alien to the man that drove around in an Austin Cambridge or a Ford Anglia or something like that.
Originally, the cars were known for their practicality, and the French characteristics came through in the designed, practical, economical, comfortable. French like their comfort too. But I think today it's much more a car designed for the European market, for the world markets, and as such, therefore, doesn't have a particularly French character.
Renault as a mark means a company that is renowned in terms of innovation and new ideas. We think about Nicole and the Clio. We think about, in the early 80s, the people mover, the Espace, galvanized steel chassis, plastic panels. We look now to the latest concept car that's becoming a production car, the Spider.
It's a two-seater roadster race car which can be adapted for road use. It's the first time that aluminium has been used for the structural components of the car, and it has also a very distinctive windscreen.
Modern Renault marketing has found its Gallic humour once more. The kind of characters that we see in the Clio advertising on the television, the tongue-in-cheek advertising of the Megane, and the marketing of the Twingo. All these now seem to have re-established Renault as a fun car, exciting to own, but also not too serious.
Renault have a very big research program, and they've never cut down on their investments into research, which has helped to keep them in the lead in the field.
Na de onderbreking volgt dadelijk Disaster, met een onderzoek naar het ongeluk in de Londense ondergrondse bij station Moorgate, nu 20 jaar geleden.